starting a business is really solving a problem. And there was a need for generic drugs. So I started out with one pharmaceutical company out of Canada called Apotex.
Master Coach Apostle Courtney McLean and Business Coach Zidane Sinister are powered up to share their expertise on the business end.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. This is another episode of the Business End Show. And on the business end, we provide real and practical solutions to advance businesses by speaking to experts in the field and existing entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Zidane Sinister, and today promises to be an exciting and an excellent one. We are privileged to have with us on the business end a titan, a true titan of Jamaican's industry. We have Dr. Glenford Christian, Order of Jamaica, an order of distinction and the justice of the peace. I tell you, this man has been doing it for Jamaica, have been doing it for the Caribbean, have been doing it for the world. He's the founder, CEO, and chairman of the Cari-Med group of companies. Now, Dr. Christian journeys from an humble beginning in the rural area to leading one of the Caribbean's most successful conglomerate. Is nothing short of inspirational. Now, with over 3 decades, I tell you, that's over 30 years. That's longer than many of us has been on earth. Dr. Christian has been transforming the pharmaceutical distribution landscape in Jamaica and the Caribbean. He has made significant contribution across the Caribbean. In and such, he has moved into the consumer goods manufacturing sector, and he is doing excellent work in community development and his thrust to philanthropy across the Caribbean. He has his vision. He's a visionary. He's an extraordinary leader. He has impacted countless lives to name. And through his business ventures, his unwavering commitment to development. We have with us today Dr. Glenford Christian, and we hope that he will be so kind to share his insights, strategy, values on driving his success and offering invaluable lessons that are here to encourage, to improve current business owners so that they are able to traverse the terrain, the complex terrain of business development and also growth across Jamaica. Now help us in welcoming Dr. Glenford Christian. Welcome, sir, to the Business End Show.
Thank you, Zidane. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir, and it's truly a pleasure to be sitting beside such greatness. I hope that the greatness of this man can rub off on us here on here, and we'll certainly be here to unwind, to unravel, to unpack the different layers of success that has been underpinning Dr. Glenford Christian. Now, can you walk us through? Let's start all the way back. Walk us through your beginning of Cari-Med Limited. What were some of the challenges you faced to establish that company in the early stages?
Cari-Med will be 38 years.
Yes.
On the 7th of October this year.
Yes.
Meaning that we started in 1986.
Yes.
I started Cari-Med after spending 16 years
Yes.
in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes.
I was working with HD Upwood Company, which is now Massey
Yes.
Group. I started as a pharmaceutical sales rep, selling
Yes.
in the pharmacies, and then from there I moved up to a medical rep.
Yes.
Used to do medical detailing for Glaxo, which is now part of the GSK, GlaxoSmithKline.
Yes.
After working with Upwood for 16 years, I decided that I really wanted to do something for myself. But while working at HD Upwood Company, my wife, Marva
Yes.
Christian, of course, my partner and
Yes.
friend
Yeah.
of 54 years.
Mighty. Congratulations.
And I've always said plus 3 years of 3 years of courtship.
Courtship.
Yes.
Yes.
Years. We actually started a pharmacy in Portmore.
Yes.
While I worked at Hapwood, and she used to work that, and that was 1979.
Yes.
But Cari-Med actually, I started Cari-Med in 1986. I've always said to people that starting a business is really solving a problem.
Yes.
And when I started Cari-Med, there was a need for generic drugs.
Yes.
Branded drugs are about 60% higher and sometimes more. And there was a need for generic drugs. So I started out with one pharmaceutical company out of Canada called Apotex.
Yes.
And I started at my property at 20 Lady Musgrave Road.
Yes.
With one generic company. And we have now grown to be the largest pharmaceutical distributor in Jamaica.
Yes.
Representing some of the outstanding brands like GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. We have Apotex, as I said. We have Novartis
Yes.
and Janssen.
Yes.
These are some of the top companies that we represent. I started with 3 employees,
Yes.
and I think right now, our number stands nearly at approximately nearly 900 employees,
Yes.
plus contractors.
Yes.
So the business has grown. Pharmaceutical has been my main stay. I've always said to people that I started in 1986, I said, and I stayed in pharmaceutical for 10 years before I diversified into the consumer.
Yes.
And I've always said to people, look, during that period of time, a lot of companies were coming to us to take on consumer products.
Yes.
But I decided to stay in my lane, as I said, and map up all the opportunities that
Yes.
was in the pharmaceutical business. So we grew, and in 10 years after, 1996, we diversified into the consumer business.
Yes.
By taking on companies at that time like Gillette,
Yes.
Rickett and Coleman. So these are everybody knows Gillette blades, everybody knows Rickett and Coleman, which Rickett Cycle with Lysol.
Yes.
Is one of the popular brands.
Yes.
And then as we move along the road, we acquire the Colgate distribution business.
Yes.
In 2004, we
Yes.
acquired the Colgate business,
Yes.
and we named that company Kirk Distributors,
Yes.
and that has now grown alongside Cari-Med, and probably bigger than Cari-Med. But we are now talking about a Cari-Med group because we consolidate the companies, Cari-Med, Kirk Distributors, Federated Pharmaceutical, which was acquired, we acquired that company in 2014.
Yes.
2014 was a big year, and that is part of our growth, massive growth in 2014 because we acquired the Kendall line. Everybody know our Kendall teas, our Kendall corned beef, our Kendall mackerel, a wide range of
Kendall coconut milk.
Kendall coconut milk,
Yes. Huge.
right. And in addition to that, we have developed our own brands, what we call our own brands. We have a big line of adult disposables, Bemstar,
Yes.
Lullaby, Bemstar adult diaper, Lullaby children's diaper, and the growth continues.
Yes.
So everybody wants to know how you got here.
Yes.
And, I've always said, first of all, I said I spent 16 years in the pharmaceutical industry before I started my own business. So I had the intellectual capital. I was able to raise some money from the bank by mortgaging my house and then build back.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get here without the support of my wife and my staff at Cari-Med.
Yeah.
Your staff, Your employees are your greatest assets.
Yes.
And I've always give God thanks. You know, I've always said, boy, look, I said, Glenn, how this thing go? I said, boy, vision come from God.
Yes.
And then I share that with my staff. Communication is, you know,
Yes.
I really chat a lot around the office.
Yeah.
Just talking, you know,
Yes.
and that kind of thing. And you cannot win without people. That's also one of my mantra. You cannot win without people. We continue to invest in our staff.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I said to people that training is not an expenditure. It's an investment.
The investment.
You have to develop people.
Yes.
And we have moved along by the help of Mona School of Business.
Yes.
Because as we are growing, we ensure that we need professional help. And that's what I think I've been trying to say to a lot of business people, young business people, go get professional help.
Yes.
In terms of setting up your strategic plan, developing your people. You must have a guideline as to what you want to do, where you want to go and when and how. And Mona School of Business had helped us very, very well in that way. Over the years, we are now working with Ivy Business School out of Canada. Again, they have helped us to set up meaningful goals, help us with our training and development and so on. So we have got here through the help of God and our staff. And we have our principals, our big companies that both sides on the consumer side. The pharmaceutical, as I said, is where we started, and we jumped into the consumer in 1998. And the consumer now is actually 2/3 of the business, while pharmaceutical is 1/3.
So let me ask you, Dr. Christian, what factors would have led you, when you're sitting down at your office or this opportunity came to you, what factors would have led you to say, at this juncture, I want to go into consumer and manufacturing?
Well, after when I got into the pharmaceutical business, I decided, give myself 10 years to be the number one.
Yes.
I was number one within 5 to 6 years, I believe.
Mighty.
Right. And I said, okay, what am I going to do with my time?
Yes.
By then, we had put up a brand new building at Cari-Med, and we started acquiring real estate.
Yes.
And again, a number of consumer companies were knocking on our doors asking us if we don't want to get involved. And we saw that opportunity. What I think I've said in this world of business, that growth is a must.
Yes.
Anything that doesn't grow, die. Water doesn't run, it dry up. Tree doesn't grow, it dead. You understand? And we're happy that we went into the consumer business, because what has happened in the branded pharmaceutical business is that we have seen the merging of a number of generic companies. Generics are good drugs. A lot of them are coming out of India and Eastern Europe. And so we see that would kind of shrink the market because, of course, they are more cheaper. Yes. And they're good drugs, good formulations. So we're happy that we diversified. And our growth has come through, as I said, a number of acquisitions. Yes. Because the whole Colgate business is part of what we got sole distribution for the brand and acquiring their thing. Our Kendall line, again, was in 2014, is a big acquisition. Another outstanding one is the Federated Pharmaceutical.
Yeah, FP.
Yes. FP is about 62 years old. Yes. And it was a part of the Lascelles group of companies, the Rendezvous group of companies.
Yes.
And when Campari decided to take over that company, they decided to get rid of the pharmaceutical, so we took that company. And we are very happy that we have been able. I wanted it because it's 60 years old, and I believe that it should stay in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I know that there are many other of my competitors who had other ideas to buy the brand, take it outside of Jamaica.
Yes.
And that would not be good for Jamaica, because when we have very, very qualified people down there in the sciences.
Yes.
And now we are pushing STEM.
Yes.
And we need those people.
Yes.
And so federated products, you can find them in that is cetamol and
rubbing alcohol.
And the cough mixer, right? And DPH.
Yes.
And we're exporting to the rest of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Very big. Cetamol, which is also one of the main products, along with DPH that we make.
Yes.
So we export to the CARICOM,
Yes.
big in Guyana, Trinidad, Barbados, and the rest of the Caribbean, Bahamas as well.
Yes. So if I hear you correctly, Dr. Christian, you would have said that opportunities were knocking at your door. But also what would have led you into the consumer and the manufacturing was that a pivot. You pivot at a time when you realize that the entrance into the market was going to be increased and there's going to be a price war. So you suggested at that point in time, now is an opportune time. I have now dominated the pharmaceutical sector. Now I need to expand and pivot into other sectors in order to increase my profitability and sustainability.
And getting into the consumer, you see, when you're in this business, you're looking at the channels of distribution.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical is in the pharmacy.
Yes.
And we are also has some presence in the supermarket.
Yes.
So when you get into the consumer business, you're actually into the supermarket. You're into the wholesale.
Yes.
So it's the same.
It's the same channel.
Same channel.
So it's easy to add on.
It's add on.
Yes.
Exactly.
Products on it.
Right.
So therefore, how do you balance then this aggressive? Because I in previous conversations, I know you're a very aggressive business owner. You are a very astute business owner. You're a go-getter. How do you balance achieving, going after these acquisitions, and at the same time maintain this high level of excellence?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to the fact that you can't do this without people.
Yes.
Coaching and delegation is very, very important in any organization. And I've always said to people, keep it very simple. Leadership is about managing talent, okay?
Yeah, yes.
I always say to people, I'm not bright, but I learn fast.
That's it.
But the whole aspect of, one thing I said about business, you must stay hungry. If you want growth, you have to stay hungry.
Yes.
But Bali said, my belly full, but me hungry. I'm always hungry.
Yes.
Looking for growth and development. Because you're in a business where the competition is aggressive, right?
Yes.
And if you're not moving, if you're not doing this through expansion and investment, getting into the consumer business is not easy. It's you need volumes. You need volumes to push that, and you need proper warehousing, and that's a different kind of business that I learn as I go along.
Yeah.
And I have to give thanks again to my staff that came with the experience that showed me how this thing is done. So the number one is to stay hungry for business. And let me put it this way: if you are not if you're not moving and moving your staff up, you're going to run over, because even your good people, even your talented people, are not going to stay with you if you're not growing.
Yes.
You know, so you must recognize that it's bigger than you. And I've always said the business is bigger than me.
The vision is bigger than you.
Yes, it's it's again the Almighty. I give it to Him. That's where it comes from, and all I do is to communicate it and drill it down.
Yeah. So, in terms of your acquisitions, then you would have made mention that you would have developed your staff. Your staff comes with the talent, and you simply manage the talent in terms of getting them onto the next level. Now, I want you to walk us through what sort of a strategy then would you encourage somebody who wants to take the same path of how they can do this similar acquisition and this integration into their operation into making it a success. Because a lot of persons buy companies, they buy good companies, but the implementation and the integration where they lose a lot of money.
Well, I've always said to people, don't invest unless you have good people to run the business.
Yes.
Don't buy business unless you
Yes.
have people to run it. That's number one.
Yes.
You might have the idea that you want to grow, and
Yes.
but if you don't have the staff to run it.
Yes.
When we acquire business, we just acquire it with the people.
Yes.
Okay, when we took over Rickett and Coleman back in 1998,
Yes.
we keep the people, we keep the staff, because they know the business.
Yes.
One of the things that people always wonder how the culture works with all of that,
Yeah.
and I've always said to do that. Culture is a serious thing, Culture is not. So Buddy said that culture will lead strategy for breakfast.
Yes.
Don't mess with it.
Yes.
So we always just leave the people,
Yes.
right? And then what we do, we employ best practices in the organization.
Yes.
So once the people are good, what we try to do is to train them up,
Train them.
invest them, and let them run the business. That's what we at Federated.
Yeah.
100% of Federated staff are the people that we went there and found. Were there. And that's Colgate, again, it was like 98% of the people are there that we found them, and we just work with them, show them the vision, and get them in the ball. And then what we said, we acquire best practices. What they have, they keep, and what vice versa.
So it's an augmented approach.
Yeah.
So what I want to encourage a business owner who is desirous of acquiring other companies in order to foster that growth that they want their business to be on, that path. He's suggesting, Dr. Christian is suggesting, that you keep the persons who know the business more. Keep the persons who are motivated to push your business forward. Develop that person by employing the best standards, the best practices, and having that augmented approach of the best practices that already existed with your new best practices, and an augmented culture would push the company forward through that integration process. That's quite refreshing, Dr. Christian, because a lot of persons, when they acquire business, they're so steadfast and putting their print and their footstep on the newly acquired business, and that's sometimes where counter.
They know the business, They're the ones who know the business. They know the track. So we have to just work with them.
Let's shift the gear a little bit, though, Dr. Christian. You said you're a man of faith, and I know you're a man of God. You have always kept God at the center of your organization and just your entire life. What I want to ask you is, how big of an influence has that played in your success, and just how you were brought up in terms of how does that integrate and speak to your style of leadership?
Well, all things from God. What we have developed in our organization is what we call values.
Yes.
If you don't have values, and part of our core values. We have what we call core values, which is integrity, um, respect, consumer satisfaction, accountability, and passion for winning.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we refer to Cari-Med as the Cari-Med family,
Yes.
right? Because we are a very caring organization.
Yes.
And there's something unique about our organization too, because we employ family.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned when your mother was there, you came and work on, on holidays. And as a matter of fact, when holidays time come, we give our staff, employees, children,
yes, preference,
priority.
Yeah.
They get priority.
Yes.
We don't have a problem in wife and husband working in the organization.
Yes.
We don't have a problem with a mother and son or daughter. Okay.
Yes.
That's the Oriental style. That's what the Chinese do. That's
Yes.
what the Indians do. That's
Yes.
what the Syrians, the Jews
Yes.
don't do that. We have a problem in Jamaica. Black people believe that if you bring your own, then dishonesty is going to turn up.
Yes.
No, most people are honest.
Yes.
And so we employ that,
Yes.
right? Family come first.
Yes.
And when you say family, it not mean Glenn Christian and
Yes.
Marva Christian and
Yes.
Gregory Christian
Yes.
and Kirk Christian and
Yes.
Cavill and no,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Dennis Grant. No,
Yeah.
it's
Everybody.
everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you go to Cari-Med now, you find cousins and wife and husband and all kind of members of family. We put family first.
Yes.
And it works for us.
It works for you.
Yes.
That is something that is unique to your organization, and I must say that I can attest to that. And so what he's encouraging persons is that when you have a family-oriented approach to business, your staff will see you as a part of the family and they will work for you. When your human capital is working for you, then your profitability would also be increased. If you see yourselves aligned with the family values, if you see yourself aligned with love, integrity, passion, service is their goal, you will see what is your bottom line and how much your staff will go above and beyond for you. Have you had any setbacks in life, in your career?
Yes, I mean, when we started business in 1986, that period in Jamaica was the economy was really in a bad state.
Yeah.
We shortage of foreign exchange. That period of time also we had to get import permits.
Yes.
And you had to have a quota at the trade board. And it was difficult. You couldn't get foreign exchange, so you had to really hustle foreign exchange on the market.
Yeah.
Going out there to buy dollars, and at that point in time too, it was unlawful to buy dollars because there was a shortage, but you have to stay alive.
Yes.
So it was rough because those people who get the quotas are the established.
Yes.
Established distributors. I had a bad experience, a terrible experience back. We started in 1986, and I had a bad experience in 1987 because the establishment, didn't want me to get in, and so there was some propaganda that ended up with a raid on the business, a raid at my house.
Yes.
They were imputing that I was bringing in pharmaceuticals or bringing on custom goods, which I got a raid. Yeah. And, every time I remember it, and I wept. My wife saw me crying at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was wondering why I had to go through this. I didn't realize that the system at that point in time was really not, they didn't want to let me in. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
After they raided me, I think it was around the Thursday, and the Gleaner on the Sunday after that
Yes.
carried the story about the concern of the pharmaceutical moguls. And the bottom line is that the inventory that I have, it gave me the exposure, right?
Yeah.
And I run out
Yes.
of stock
Yes.
because I got free advertisement, you know. And it's always remind me of the scripture where Joseph told his brother, you know that story,
Yes.
right? When the famine in Canaan
Yes.
and food was in Egypt,
Yes. Yes.
and they sold him,
Yes.
and he ended up in Potiphar and become the governor.
Yes, and he end up helping them.
And then when they got nervous,
Yes.
you know, thought that he was going to
Yes.
do something to them, he said, don't worry, man, you did it for evil, but the Lord did it for good.
Yes.
So the establishment did it for evil,
but it meant for good.
Right.
And so you weathered that initial setback. I know you bounced back. I know you're moving forward. What would you say is the cause of that? Did that make you more driven? Did you?
Yeah, I
did
was
you-
driven. I was driven. I decided I'm not going to fail. I decided
Yes.
that I have to win. Okay, and I really went out and I you know, and it created an awareness as to exactly what kind of war I was in.
What kind of worry was that? And you stuck your knees
Yes,
in.
yeah, man.
So you would encourage somebody that is in business right now, and if they were to face similar challenges of getting inside, moving their business to the next level, moving their lives to the next level, to dig in.
Yeah. Yes, and the first thing, you know, what I think about is, and especially a lot of people coming into business, you have to say, are you ready?
Yes.
You know, because when people ask me, you know, how it happened, I said, look, I had 16 years of intellectual capital,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I had, you know, mastered some working capital because, as I said, I had the pharmacy
Yes.
before.
Yes.
And a lot of business fail because, you know, it's not capitalized.
Yes.
And a lot of business fail because people are getting into business that they don't know about,
Yes.
you know. So I use my experience, and I've always said to other people, so I said to people, look, think big, start small, and take it easy, and stay in your lane,
Yes.
right? Because too many people try too many things
Yes.
at one time. And so, you know, I've said, okay, 16 years of working of intellectual capital, continue to invest the money, okay? Again, I have to give credit to my wife because, I mean, while we're doing very well, we're still driving some old second-hand cars, and we're investing and building the big warehouses while we're still living in our 3-bedroom house, you know what I mean, with a small kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, we keep putting the money into the business, you know, and those are some. You have to wait some time and pick
At
your
the right
priority.
time.
Yes, and you have to decide what is your philosophy. You know, do you want to build a business or do you just want a belly full? You know what I
Yes.
mean? You just want a few things, you know, lifestyle and you know.
So you chose the long haul. You chose the long vision. You chose the long vision outside of immediate gratification.
Yes, yes.
And somebody getting into business,
Yeah.
you would encourage them
Right.
to stick the long haul.
Yeah.
Focus on the long-term vision because that lifestyle will come.
And yes, and again, if you just started and you're not investing and you're not growing, the competition is going to take you over.
Take you over.
You start out and you're doing well, right? Because nobody look for the loser, you know. Everybody always look to see who. And if you are doing well, but once you're doing well, you can do better. Continue to invest and to develop, right?
Yeah.
I'm still active. Okay. Everybody asks me, Glenn, why you still go to work? I said, yes, I'm still on the team. I'm still at the wicket.
Still batting. Still going.
Yeah, I might not open bats are one down or three down, but I'm on the team.
Yeah, I'm on
I'm
the
coaching.
team.
I'm
On the
coaching.
team. Before we go, I must ask you. I know you have contributed a lot to community development. You give back a lot to Jamaica and the wider world. How has that impacted your business philosophy?
Well, again, the Lord said, to whom much is given, much is expected,
Yes.
right? And blessed, it's more blessed to give than to receive.
Than to receive, yes.
And it's part of my faith
Yes.
that you give back.
Yes.
And I've been giving back. Early childhood education is my key.
Yeah.
Push early childhood education, because you can't build a house from the top. You have to
Build it from the
build the
foundation.
front, so lay the foundation, and then I'm now moving strongly into STEM, because that's what we really need to do.
That's what we need to do. We must end it there. Time is far spent, but I wish we could have a part 2, a part 3, and a part 4. There's so much to unpack with Dr. Glenford Christian. But this has been another episode of The Business End. We encourage you to follow us at The Business End Show on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and also TikTok. You are the Business End Show tribe. You are the best. So continue to be your increasing best. Thank you.
Master Coach Apostle Courtney McLean and Business Coach Zidane Sinister are powered up to share their expertise on the business end. But don't forget to tell a friend or a colleague, and of course have your tools on hand, your notebook and your pen. Classes are in session every Tuesday, 3:30 on Gospel JA for the business end. Master Coach Apostle Courtney McLean and Business Coach Zidane Sinister await you.